Imagine if you have 9 other friends to play video games with. I know, impossible in this day and age. Nonetheless, what would you play? Maybe you'd play some GTA roleplay or some Among Us like the good old days when we were forced to stay in. But imagine what your friends will say when you ask them to log into GBN to act as body and weapon parts for a combiner that you pilot, and have one unlucky enough to be in the weapon to feel every swing you pull off. What is going on, guys? MJ105 Gundam here, and welcome to my third and final part of the Shock Gundam review series. Today, I'm going to be combining these two combiners, no, you're not hearing things, and checking out the one final gimmick Bandai implemented from buying all 10 Build Divers Miniplas, the King Shock Gundam. To start off, you'll first have to disassemble both Shock Gundams into their basic components. Then, for the right arm, take the upper half of the Gundam and spin its arms around. Combine it with the lower half of the standard new Gundam with the legs swapped, before plugging one of the Sazabi backpacks into the Gundam arms, and the Red Frame's backpack into the new's feet. Repeat the process for the left arm, but instead using the upper half of the Zaku, lower half of the new second, and backpacks of the other Sazabi and the blue frame. As for the right leg, start by taking the torso, waist, and right arm of the red frame, and plugging the arm into its left shoulder socket, raised up. Then, plug the Sazabi second into the leg sockets, and the standard news backpack into its legs. Do the same for the left leg, except with the torso, waist, and left arm of the blue frame into the right shoulder socket, the standard Sazabi, and the new second's backpack. Finally, take the Shock Gundam Mark II core, plug on the large V-fin of the Super Shock, and standard V-fin of the Shock Mark II into the forehead, the chest fins of the Super Shock into the chest, double stack the fin funnels that have arms, the other mask piece included with the SG Astrays, before finally combining all the assemblies together to form the King Shock Gundam. If you think the separate combined forms weren't enough of a quagmire, this will definitely change your mind. I mean, it literally being 9 kits in one would definitely be a messy result, but at the same time, it's quite a beautiful mess in that the extreme heft of the body proportions and the updated face mask with the red sticker gives this guy an extremely imposing, heavy-duty appearance, with the 12 fin funnels on its back providing the extra flair for a larger-than-life display, and the mess of colors ensuring that it draws attention. Still, being an original design to this lineup, it captures the whimsy of the Shock Gundam combination concept, and arguably looks the best out of the 3 combined forms thanks to the symmetrical lower body, and somewhat more balanced proportions thanks to the lengthened legs. Otherwise, if this is the form you choose to display the 10 kits as, a straight build is more than enough. Articulation wise, besides all the pre-existing ball joints and makeshift bends, those on their straight torsos actually provide the legs with somewhat of a bend as well, greatly enhancing flexibility. Though with the sheer mass and bulk of this thing, it'd be extremely hard to get it into anything dynamic in the first place, not to mention that the ABS on ABS joints being utterly painful to coordinate with so much weight they need to support. Overall, it's rigid but extremely unwieldy to handle. As for weapons, apart from the Gatling on the left fist, as well as the combo weapons left over from the separate combined forms, the King Shock Gundam has the Shock Gun Hammer, made by removing the mask and reversing the feet of the normal Shock Gundam, before plugging on its V-fin upside down, and a handle into its chest. And if you thought the Gargantuars from Plants vs Zombies 1 that use actual zombies were ridiculous, I can only imagine what it would be like for the poor soul that is sitting in it. Sure, it's rather ham-fisted in order for this to be considered a 10-part combiner, but I find the decision hilarious nonetheless because of how freakishly eccentric the King Shock already is. Though the weight, and more importantly the shape of the hammer, will be a bit of an issue if you're trying to pose with it. On top of the fact that besides the pre-existing leftovers from each of the kits and combined forms, you have a whole lot more junk body parts to store away thanks to this combination, as it is not exactly a perfect 10-in-1 combiner. Personally, I never really liked combiner robots, with the exceptions being component combiners like the Double Zeta Gundam, or those that split into main and support crafts like the Seravi and Seraphim. Though thinking back to my childhood, the only combiner robots I remember seeing are from Transformers, Mechtavia's Destroyer from Bakugan Mectanium Surge, and some mechanical spirits from Battle Spirits, and I think that's the key to what makes the King Shock work. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's an original creation for one, and it's based on a Gundam sub-series that has the liberty to go nuts with whatever they can think of. So even when I think the King Shock Gundam is ridiculous and impractical, the creativity and insanity of it all are appreciable, especially when it uses a full mobile suit as a hammer. That being said, while I think the King Shock amplifies the absurdity and the fun, it's doubly problematic because of the ABS joints. Then, there's the value. With how the Great Shock Gundam incentivizes the purchase of the Super Shock to make full use of its content, this 10-part combiner comes in at a whopping 4,800 yen at base, without considering second-hand reselling prices. That's enough to net you a number of SDs, higher end high grades, or even some lower end master grades. Plus, with how rare each of the units are nowadays, it's definitely not worth the investment to a casual builder if I'm totally honest. However, if you're one of those who likes and would still want this abomination of an SD on your shelf, then I would recommend approaching it with heavy discretion. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching, drop a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content like this, and feel free to follow me on social media with the links down below. That said, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out guys. Bye bye.